Welcome, everyone, to the True Stories in Tech podcast, life-changing conversations in the areas of technology, business, and belonging. My name is Brian E. Numa. Our company is Strategic Systems Group. We are a Los Angeles-based IT consulting firm and experts in enterprise resource planning. I'm here today with my friends and colleagues, Manish Bardia, President of Think AI Consulting, Eddie Bader, COO of Aegis Innovators, and Eric Klaus, CEO of Partner Source Solutions. And our very special guest, Elena Baeva of 365 Talent Portal. Welcome, Elena.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Great. Well, let's do this. Maybe we'll start with a little bit about Elena Baeva. And you can start anywhere you like, from college or childhood, whatever you choose.
Sure, yeah. So, hi, everyone. I've been in the IT sector for about 23 years, and actually, I did not have the intention of being in IT. I was a rebel. Both my parents were in IT. Both of them were in technology. And I wanted to be different. I actually wanted to be an actress for a while. And I was interested in languages and traveling, but I decided that probably as a proper career development, I should pursue something a bit more serious, and decided to study economics. And when I finished my bachelor degree, I had an amazing opportunity to work in an international company. It was a Swedish company in their Central and Eastern European head office in Hungary. And this company was an IT company, and this is how it all started. So even though I resisted it and did not want to work in tech like my parents, I ended up working for an IT company. And actually, I fell in love with it because I realized technology is not just about coding, which works really well for many people. And I admire, I actually work, that's what our company does. We work with consultants, but that's not me. I'm not wired that way. And I found my place working in technology, but actually not touching the code and not being a developer myself. So I pursued a career in sales and partner management. And so over many years, I worked for Microsoft as well, 9 years working for Microsoft in their business apps Dynamics team. And that's then set up a company that works in the IT space called 365 Talent Portal. So yeah, that's a very brief introduction, but in terms of background, I'm Eastern European. I'm born in Russia, grew up in Bulgaria. I lived in Asia Pacific for a while, in Singapore, in China, and then relocated to the UK 21 years ago. So I'm based in London. And yes, I have been here ever since.
That's great. Well, also, we know you from IEMCP.
Yes.
And one of the things that intrigues me is that you have served perhaps at 3 levels, a local, regional, international. Is that fair?
Yeah,
So
that's correct.
maybe briefly, how about compare and contrast local, regional, international?
That's a very interesting topic. And again, for anyone who doesn't know what IMCP is, it's the International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners. It is the widest network of Microsoft partners around the world, and I highly recommend anyone to join it. So as you said, we operate on 3 levels. So the local one is it could be a country, like in the case of the UK. We have a local UK chapter. It could be regional. EMEA, in our case, it's EMEA, but we've got Americas, and we've got quite a few representatives here on the call from the Americas chapters. And then we have the international board as well. So I sit on all the 3 boards, and it's a great privilege for me. And I'm surrounded by amazing professionals from around the world. And they're very different, but it's a bit like working in a large corporate environment, only we all brought in on a voluntary basis. And it's amazing to see how much time and effort everyone dedicates towards this. So yeah, it's different because on the local level, it's all about working with the members and adding value to existing members, and engaging locally in various initiatives and events. On the regional level, it's all about coordinating the different chapters and making sure we are aligned towards the same purposes and goals. And globally, it's about the strategic work and the strategic initiatives that we're delivering to the regions and to the local chapters.
That's great. One of the things that we strive for is the connect, learn, and grow.
Yes.
So maybe the grow part. How has IMCP helped 365 Talent Portal, or vice versa?
Yeah, no. So I think every organization finds different ways of benefiting from IMCP, and as well as a company and personally as well, you can benefit in lots of different ways. So as a company, you can leverage the connect bit, which is finding other organizations you can work with and collaborate with. I found that one of the early days when we joined, there was another training large organizations that we've been trying to connect for a number of years. And at one of the small events, I was sitting next to their CEO. So we established the connection, and a few weeks later, we started working together and sharing resources. And this was a great opportunity, which it would take you a lot more effort if you're trying to build from scratch. And IMCP, you have access to senior resources at different partner levels, which is amazing. Further on, because I've been involved for a few years, I had many opportunities where other members who have seen me, have engaged with me, reach out and ask for help with finding resources or with training. So again, it has been good because we work on a trust basis, and again, many of us like each other when you work on a regular basis, and it's all down to people. When you trust someone, you tend to reach out to them first when you have a need in the area that they specialize in. Yeah.
Well,
And
thank
I've
you.
seen this not just for our company, and it's not just for board members, but actually for members of IMCP who are not involved in that way. And actually, partner-to-partner networking is one of the biggest benefits we have at IMCP, and something that we encourage and promote in a great way.
Okay, that's a great start. Thank you.
Sometimes, Elena, I joke that if you want to learn how to be a good leader, work in a volunteer organization. So I'm curious, are there lessons you've learned for Elena, lessons or skills that you've picked up having served the community as a leader at those three levels that you mentioned?
Absolutely, and every day I learn from all the people involved in IMCP, because when you think of it, you're dealing with so many business owners, and it's just a phenomenal network of knowledge and intelligence, and everyone contributes in a different way and has ideas that I often look and say, oh, I have not thought of that, and maybe it's something I can implement in my own company. And again, working with people like Sarika, who is our president, she's always impressed me with her organization skills and her way to distill information and just to come up with strategies which are simple and easy to execute. And people like Eric, with you, Eric, and with I've worked with you for a couple of years, and now with Eddie much closer. So it's a true inspiration to learn from you as well.
Nish, did you have a question? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Definitely. I wanted to see if Eddie wants to chime in.
Yeah,
Okay.
Elena, I was just going to ask you, you do a lot around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and, that's kind of a passion project, right? You have to have that mindset, and we're looking to spread that mindset as well, right? So what do you see as our issues today, and what are you hopeful for because you see the change on the rise?
Thank you for the question, Eddie. I think in terms of D&I and or DEI, like a lot of people are calling it now, the change needs to start with us as individuals. We can't rely on every company or the company you work for to make the change for you. So the first step, I'd say, is for people to try to understand their unconscious bias, because we all have some unconscious bias, and whether we realize it or not. And there are some really useful courses you can sign up for, free online courses. As IMCP members, we provide access to the official Microsoft unconscious bias training, which is a fantastic tool for you to navigate through and all the aspects. So we're not just talking about gender or race, we're talking about disability, neurodiversity, sexual orientation, ethnicity, background, diversity of thought as well, because you might come up with someone with similar background to you, but would come up with different ideas to your thinking, and even that could provoke you in some ways. So just understanding deep inside, what are your limitations? Is there something you need to work on? Because once you realize that, this can improve your professional life in a great way. So you can improve your connections and relationship with your employees, with your suppliers, with your customers, with your family as well, and friends. So it's an easy start and once you become curious about it, it could inspire you to take it a little bit further. Maybe see in your organization, how can you take a leadership maybe in certain way, and build communities, and maybe challenge your leaders in terms of how can your company provide a better platform for an inclusive environment at work. So and as if you're a leader of the company, there are lots of things you can consider for inclusive leadership. There are programs for your employees that you can implement regardless of how large your organization is, whether it's a small team or a large team. And again, at IMCP, we're working on putting those tools together. We've been working with Microsoft, with external experts as well, to make it to help with the how, not just what, in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
That's very cool. So I have another thing I wanted to talk to you about. So you've been very successful, and I know you have a young daughter, and you're a role model for her in a lot of ways, although sometimes children don't necessarily look up to us at different times. But later on, they're like, oh, yeah, my mom and dad are pretty cool, right?
I would hope so. I don't know if it's the case just yet.
I was just wondering, like, what is the one thing that you've done so far in your career? And you have many more wonderful years ahead of you, but what's the one thing that you've done so far that you're super proud of, and what's the one thing is still on your list to accomplish?
So in terms of being proud of, it's probably starting my own business. It was probably the bravest thing to do while working for Microsoft, which is such a great company. And the risk sometimes is for working for a great company is you build a sense of comfort, and it's easy, it's good, it's nice, it's you see career potential, you get paid well, you work for the biggest brand out there. Why should you change? And but I just had this burning idea which was brewing in me for years, and I knew I had to do it, otherwise I'll just regret it. And everyone's always like, this is crazy. Why are you doing that? Why are you leaving the comforts of a brilliant job to go and build something which you don't know if it will work? You can fail. And it's like, I just had to do it. And my biggest advice for my daughter and for anyone is just be brave, try and don't be afraid of failure. In terms of next step, and it's like, other things that I aspire to do. I don't know. I just want to maybe to try something different as a side business, maybe at some point in the future, something completely different to challenge myself outside of IT. But I haven't really had the idea yet. So it's probably going to lead me back to IT in some ways, but because IT is everywhere. But I probably would want to do something outside of my comfort again at some point.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing.
Excellent. I do have a follow-up question on this challenging yourself concept. Elena, very interesting. I mean, first of all, I want to understand why Microsoft people want to leave and start business.
Yeah, Manish, yeah. So I'm sure it happens a lot because you get exposed to so many opportunities in the market, and again, you have such an opportunity to get ahead by having the visibility of certain gaps in the market and other things. So that's one side, but again, you have to really have the guts to try it, and I appreciate not everyone. People might have certain family circumstances that do not allow them to take the risk because it's a big financial risk as well. I was very lucky that my husband fully supported me through this decision. So that's again, it's a big consideration. Can you take the dip? Not just financial but emotional, and because again, as any business owner will tell you, you don't start business for work-life balance. It's actually the opposite. So you're not going to have 9-to-5 job. You're going to have 24-hour job, and you're not going to have proper holidays because you will work on holidays. And the first few years would go on holiday, and my daughter and my husband would go to the beach. I would be in a hotel working. So it's, yeah, it's a sacrifice, but it is a great learning curve, and if you do this, you would learn so much more than anything else.
Perfect. Another question on the same thing. I mean, I do think you highlighted, because Microsoft is such a great company, and all big companies have so much visibility on what's going on, and they're setting the actual direction of future. You know where things will go, and if you can leverage that or do something in that area, that gives you confidence and opportunity also. So that's good. Similar question related to starting something new and dealing with failure or setbacks. So, you know, I normally relied on my family values, or just some example like failure was not a big deal kind of scenario. What was your reference point when you were starting new? See, once you grow and you have experience, you form ways to deal with failures. What was your method to deal with setback, and what's your guidance to new generation who will go through it and fail somewhere or get setback? What's your direction or guidance on that?
So, and I don't know if it's a good thing, but I'm quite stubborn and I don't give up. So sometimes this could set me back because sometimes I'm just so determined to do whatever I've decided to do that I might not see the opportunity that's next to it. So I'm not advising for that, but the best advice I've had was, if you don't have a plan B, your plan A will succeed. So don't set for plan B. Because as soon as you start thinking you have a plan B, you're going to relax. So yeah, my advice to anyone is don't have a plan B.
Don't have it. Just follow your course.
Yeah, exactly. But don't miss out on other opportunities that get thrown your way. Because again, when I started my company, I had a vision in one direction. And then, so purely on the recruitment side. And then we had a fantastic opportunity to consider training as well, because recruitment and training go hand in hand. I was very grateful for this opportunity because actually this is now one of our main revenue streams as an organization and one of the main business generators, especially during COVID, when not many companies are hiring right now. A lot of organizations are going through training. But the ability to be agile and transform your business into where the opportunity is, it might be different from where you started when you originally thought it would take you. But if it's a good opportunity, why not? You should pursue it.
So just one more to tie that, and you kind of answered. You know, when there are multiple opportunities, people get distracted.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, I have this and this and this. Especially entrepreneurs know they can do many things. So what's your guidance on that? Is that how do you focus on one, but at the same time don't lose out on opportunity? I think any guidance there?
Manish, it's I'm sure you all as business owners probably encounter this on a daily basis, and it's a big challenge, because how do you decide which opportunity to take, which not? So maybe to follow your instincts again, because unless you have the ability to assess which one would be in the right route and how it complements your offerings, and whether you have the resources, financial, people resources, skills resources, or maybe pursue the lowest hanging apple as well. So what could you do with the minimum effort that could potentially turn up to be a great opportunity for you strategically or as a revenue stream? So yeah, it's. But on the other hand, you can have a great strategic opportunity, which requires a bit more effort, that longer term would be the ultimate direction of the company. So I don't think there's a recipe, and you have to follow your instinct and judgment as a business owner of what would be the right. But one thing, you're right, you probably can't pursue everything that gets thrown your way, because otherwise you'll just be too thin in the way of your execution.
Okay, that is good. I think following your instinct, what you're comfortable is perfect. Now, related to skilling, which is, I think you are very familiar with as a business, how should entrepreneur try new skill or surround themselves with new things so that they are growing in direction? Because comfortable is good, but
no, definitely. Skilling is essential, and I think young people are very keen to learn, and that's a great thing to be encouraged. But often what I see professionals, once they get into certain jobs, they lose this passion for learning, because they think, okay, I've reached now the level I'm happy with, and I just need to monetize it or work kind of the best I can with the current skills. But this could be quite flawed, because no matter what job you do, there are ways you can improve, and there are ways you can find. So I mean, technology in particular. If you work in tech, you have to constantly upskill. But even if you take a particular sales job, there's new sales techniques. If you're in marketing as well, there's so many new tools and other things. So learning is essentially, we should all be thinking of adding it to our regular routine, maybe not daily, but maybe allocating a monthly few hours per month to go through certain self-improvement course and materials, or just reading online about certain area that is important for you, because this would inspire you with new ideas, new thinking, would make you more valuable as an employee. but also as a leader, because you might come up with a new strategy that will motivate your employees better, or a new strategy for your company and direction that will generate more customers. So learning is crucial, absolutely. And regardless of the age, it's something we all need to aspire to.
Thank you.
Elena, you mentioned that there's a little bit of a shift in your business where recruiting was the first point of entry, but now
Yeah.
you mentioned that learning or training has become a significant part. So
Yes.
maybe I understand the model for 365 Talent Portal because we have been, and I think still are, a client of 365 Talent Portal. The maybe my question is about the business model for training. So how did you structure it? What is the key strategy?
Thank you, Brian. So yeah, as you know, and thank you so much for being such a loyal client. So we really appreciate your business, and hopefully we've helped you with some great resources. So on the training side, we have a couple of models. So because we have a career platform. So for anyone who is not familiar with 365 Talent Portal, and we attract business application consultants, dynamics consultants. One way to attract consultants is by adding value through training. So we're giving them access to a lot of free resources and learning, and help them navigate through the Microsoft world with learning paths and other things, because you know how difficult it is for a busy person to find the relevant information in the big sea of Microsoft world. There's just so much. It's just filtering and navigating it through this and distilling into what they need in order to keep up their competencies, their skills in their profession. So we're providing this for consultants for free in terms of advice, and guiding them to free resources where they can go and learn in their free time and do that. Now, if they want to take it a step further, we provide virtual classroom courses where they can go in deep dive with very experienced trainers who are also consultants with experience. They're all Microsoft certified trainers. Some of them are MVPs as well, who will go in depth across all the solutions and the different roles, and at the end of those courses, the consultants should be able to pass the relevant exams and to get certified. We also have courses that are not leading to certifications. They're on specific new technologies that are coming up, and if anyone is curious to learn about those, they're welcome to sign up. And some of the courses, with the way we structured lately, the courses, they're half-day courses because it's difficult to keep people in a virtual classroom for a full day. So they're over a certain period. So some of them are a couple of days, others go to, depending on technology, could go to 5 or more days virtual classroom training. But we also work closely with Microsoft. We provide trainers and content and materials to Microsoft Corp to roll out to the partners around the world. So we've been supporting Microsoft in different geographies as well directly. And also lately, we are working with partners who are considering, again, looking at their silver and gold competencies and how they can reach this new PCI compliance that Microsoft launched, and that's specific for the business applications partners. We're helping them with an assessment in terms of the gap and what they need to do in terms of skilling, and to run customized courses for them, just for their teams, which would be focused around the gaps and helping them reach this silver or gold status.
Okay, I have a question. We touched upon this in a previous conversation, so let me see if I can phrase it correctly. A little while back, a young man, a university student in Tanzania, reached our website and posed an inquiry. He was interested in Dynamics AX, although, as we know, it'll be Dynamics 365 for supply chain and finance. His challenge was daunting. He basically first wanted to learn about Dynamics AX, so at a very simplistic level, a training request. He then introduced me to someone in Tanzania that is running an incubator, as best I can describe it, with the intent of hiring or I guess training young folks and others to be able to become proficient in applications and then perhaps launch a consultancy. So it's a twofold challenge. One, to learn the skills, and then another challenge, as we know, to be an entrepreneur. You need some additional skills to be successful. So do you have, maybe at a very broad brush level, a little advice that you would give to this young man?
So if it's just for him to start with, there's a lot of, he can reach out to me and we'll guide him. But if he wanted to take the time, there are lots of free resources on Microsoft Learn where he can go and teach himself in terms of the variety of F&O supply chain courses that are there. It will be time consuming. There are a number of courses. So if he reaches out to us, we can probably give him a learning path and tell him actually which courses are relevant to him. Then once he builds these skills himself, he can probably, if he wants to take it further, build a little team, maybe advise other people in his team to do the same. He can maybe even organize, if he's confident enough, to show them how it works. I mean, if you have not had practice, it's a bit more difficult, to be honest. So maybe to bring on an experienced consultant to share best practices, or maybe even if he has the clients, to hire a freelancer to do the implementation first, because you need the skills. Just with the training, it's hard. If you haven't got the industry experience, it's very hard to guide a client with technology you just learned about. So maybe to hire a freelancer for the project, for the duration of project, few days, few weeks, depending on what's needed, and to shadow that person. So to go with a consultant, follow exactly what they're doing, and learn from them. And then after maybe a few implementations, he will have the confidence to do it himself. And in the same way, once he's reached that maturity, maybe he can have other people shadowing him. Now, if he wanted to take it even further, he can probably build a mini academy where he brings on lots of young people to inspire them about, in this case, supply chain and Dynamics 365. So he can maybe even run his own mini course and teach them to become consultants.
Wow,
but
that's really great.
it's not a short journey. It will probably take a few years to build really the maturity he would need to do that. But it could be a potential career path for someone to take. And
maybe speak a little bit about I'll call it the non-technical aspects of being an entrepreneur. So we all had to learn about human resources and accounting and finance and legal and all of the things that go into that.
Yes.
So maybe not specifically for this young man, but maybe in general for us as well. How did you overcome the need to learn the other things to run a business?
So by dipping your feet into everything, because initially you're on your own. And again, I did not have the luxury of having a big investment and a team behind me from day one. So if you run a business, you have to deal with everything. You can't ignore one side. As you say, you can't ignore the legal side, because you have to set up the company, you have to set up the right agreements, you have to deal with the lawyers, you have to register the company. So if you don't want to do it, you have to hire professionals, and that takes time and money. Often, even if you learn to do it, you still have to hire the professionals to do it properly. So you can't learn accounting in day one. So yes, you do. But one thing I've learned is you have to understand every aspect. So even if you're not proficient, you have to have knowledge, because these professionals, they do not understand your company. These professionals do not understand your market. These professionals are not going to understand your business, business model. So in everything, again, involved, I have to double check everything. I have to go through the agreements and every single word of it. I have to go through the accounts, every transaction in the beginning, just because people make mistakes, so they just do it in a different way, like a different company. So you do have to learn an awful lot, but that's the most exciting thing about starting a business, isn't it? So you learn skills and acquire skills that you've never thought you would. So it's, I think that's the plus side. So yeah, there's a lot of work and a lot of it and a lot of different areas, but these are skills for life, and you become much more employable after that. Once you've run a business, because you would be so much more well-rounded and you would understand the different parts of the business, not just a small part of it. If you work for a big organization like me, when I was working for Microsoft, I had my very good knowledge of the area I was working in, but I had no understanding of some of the other areas. And again, I think building your own business, it's the best school, the best learning you could ever have.
Most practical MBA project.
Totally, exactly. You nailed it, Manish. Exactly.
Yeah, and I say that because I was debating going to MBA, and one of the person said, you know, what was like maybe 100,000 or 150,000. So he said, take that money, put in business, you will learn more. And I did that actually, and
Well,
it was
there you
painful.
go. Yeah.
It was a painful journey, but I always think about, okay, should I have done MBA? But I think now I'm happy.
Yeah.
So I have a
And you know
question
what?
on.
Maybe you can do an MBA now, because you'll be in a much better position probably. Yeah.
Right, right. So tell me, I mean, as Brian was asking, multiple area of business, you having the big company exposure and maybe MBA also helped you on that, right? Because see, one of the thing is technical folks are single-minded, which is a great thing, but then it comes with so many different areas in business, you don't know how to deal. So did MBA help you with that?
I think so. Yeah, it gave me the foundation and the basis in terms of certain knowledge. So we talked about the different areas. I had the privilege of having learned about most of them when I was doing economics and then going deeper in MBA. So it certainly helped. Now, in terms of strategic thinking, it's great as well. So it helped with that. Now, would I have done the same without an MBA? Probably.
Yeah.
It would. I don't think MBA is a requirement for someone to start business. By no means. I think it's good to have, but it's definitely, no one should shy out if they've got a great idea and they want to execute it. They should not wait for an MBA, because again, they should just do it now, because someone else might take it and do it better than them in the time that they've been doing an MBA. So and actually an MBA is useful. I would never advise someone to go for an MBA straight from uni. You need to have worked somewhere to benefit mostly, because otherwise it's just theory. You have no application and no understanding of how to apply what you learn. Well, if you're a business owner, or even if you've worked for a company and do an MBA, you can you can see where all of this knowledge would take you, and you can pick and choose what you focus on, as opposed to bluntly studying everything in every aspect. But yeah, I think it's certainly something that would be better suited for people who have worked.
So one more question just on MBA is, you did touch that about take some experience then go MBA. How about technical person who has been in one line of business or one kind of job? Should they change job before taking MBA? I mean, if possible, because it's not easy, but relevance, right? See, you're saying you get experience and then you see some issues, then you do MBA, you can relate. So my question is, should people try different things and then do MBA, or it's fine to just have some years experience and do MBA?
So again, I don't think MBA is a route for everyone. You need to ask yourself why you're doing it. So if you are a brilliant technical person, how is that going to add value to you? Do you want to open your business? And in that case, maybe it will. Do you want to diversify? But if your business is to do what you currently do and you do it very well, maybe you don't need an MBA. If you suddenly want to expand in other areas which you've never been exposed to or not familiar, and you want to learn about strategy of growth and to diversify your business, possibly. But what we see, I've seen many technical successful people who take their business and skills to the next level just by doing what they do and attracting people that are similar to what they do, and they build amazing businesses out of this without the need to go through the MBA education at all.
Thank you. Yeah.
Elena, I've always thought that we learn a lot from our mistakes, maybe more than anything else. Is there something that stands out for you as a business owner, that something that, oh, I wish I had done that, or I wish I had done something differently, that you reflect on sometimes? You think, gosh, that was a good learning lesson.
You know what? So it's my personality. I'm an extreme optimist, so I always look on the bright side, and I would never say that something is a mistake. I would always say it's a learning, and actually in my mind I always twist it as a positive experience. So sometimes people think that could be naive, but it has served me in a great way. So I can't think, and I'm sure some people looking at me have said, well, you've made many mistakes. I don't see mistakes. I just see opportunities, and yeah. So, but that's just me. I work with a lot of people who have very different way of looking at things, and they want to go post-mortem for mistakes. And I'm not like that. That's not me, and I'm not wired that way. And yeah. So and I see a lot of people, and I think I'm curious. I'm not afraid of failure, just because I don't think of failure as such. I think it's part of the journey, maybe. And if it happens, I probably would not see it as a failure, but as the outcome that had to happen for me to do something even better. So yeah. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, we talked a little bit about DEI. You are also involved in WIT, and I was able to sit in yesterday on the Men as Allies discussion that was held in SoCal North, or in conjunction with SoCal North. I did learn a few things here and there about being brave, for example, and speaking up in situations where we observe things happening in front of us, and to be brave and speak up. But what is your maybe one or two things, since we all men on this call, that you would tell us about being allies?
Oh God, it's interesting because, again, you're right. So there's certain things that men need to consider, but you all have worked with women. You all have women probably in your organizations. You work with women who are in partner positions. So you're probably not the best examples, because you have already probably implemented some of these practices. So I would advise men in general in terms of being considerate and giving women opportunities to maybe speak up, because some women don't really have the confidence to take initiatives unless asked. And that's more of a female trait, and it's not something that, again, it could be limiting if someone does not realize it. And so to be a bit more understanding that women think differently and sometimes impose on themselves certain limitation and glass ceilings. So and challenging women a little bit more in terms of their abilities, because sometimes they might not have the confidence to ask for promotion or to step up and ask for more responsibility, or they might have the skills but would expect their management to offer them that. And I know most men have the courage and they go for things. No, women, we tend to wait a little bit more, and we wait to be presented with the opportunity. So yes, if you think in terms of similar situation in your teams, and if you have male and female candidates, maybe to approach things slightly different to allow women to take the opportunity themselves, and sometimes maybe to challenge them to take more responsibility as well.
Maybe taking it in a little bit different direction. I have all observed that women are underrepresented in tech in general. You mentioned that your daughter is being a little bit anti-tech at the moment. So how to encourage young people, essentially, and young women, especially, to be interested in technology?
Yeah. So again, in my daughter's example, I'd say she's obsessed with technology in terms of tools, computers, laptops, phones. So any given opportunity, if there's a screen in front of her, she would be interested. However, that's not to say that she sees herself working in tech. And I think partially it comes because she's in an age, she's only 11, and at this age, you're curious about other things, not what mom and dad are doing. And at some point, maybe in future, just like me, she will end up in technology, but it would need to be her decision. And I think for her, I want to be a good example, but also to expose her to maybe younger examples, because kids tend to relate more to someone who is closer to their age, so it makes it more real. So, and often when we talk about mentoring, so to mentor, so if someone in their 40s mentors someone in their teens, you're not going to have the same reaction as if you get someone in their early 20s who has just got into tech, who loves it, has an exciting job. That's much more inspiring, but it's something that they could relate better and more to. In the same way, again, if you're talking to the 20-year-old, probably good examples for them would be someone in their 30s. So make it achievable. So they could see, okay, in 5-10 years time, I could maybe think of having a career in that direction. So it's very important to have different people from different levels of career being examples, and it could be anyone. So anyone junior in your office would be such an inspiration for kids at school and at university, because this could be them in few years time. So again, I don't think we should take it on as business owners as the mission to educate everyone ourselves, because again, it would be a very distant message for someone so young. But ultimately, we need to inspire people who are in the junior level in our organizations to step up, and maybe for them to be the cheerleaders of the tech industry, and to wave the flag of the opportunities that are presented to them.
All right, then I'll ask Eddie's question that Eddie normally asks, and we talked about this before. Maybe pick a time frame, 10 years or so, maybe 15 years from now. What do you hope for your daughter?
I would like her to be brave, and I think I mentioned this earlier, to pursue whatever she wants to do, because there's nothing worse than just starting a career to please someone else, or to do it just because your parents expect you to, or because the school teachers told you to, or your friends are doing the same and you just follow bluntly into that. So just try something, wherever your heart is, just try that, and to find yourself what really drives you, and surround yourself with people that inspire you, whatever they are, wherever they are. Maybe pick a couple of role models of people who are doing something that you really admire, and ask them, or check online how they've done it, and learn some tips from them in terms of what could you do to replicate. But yeah, to be open to various opportunities, and not to fall into the trap of certain career expectations or routes that you have to do it just because everyone does it and that's the way it has to be done. You build your own future. It's only you who can decide what's best for you.
Alrighty, so we're coming to the end of our time here. Our general typical question is, what does an ideal partnership look like to you?
Thank you, Brian. So that's an interesting topic, and actually we had an IMCP session today around partner to partnering and ideal partnership. So it's very timely. So ideal partnership should always be about adding value to the other organization as much as to yourself. So you would never have a successful partnership if it's one-sided, and ideally should be complementary in either skills or product, or technology, product, skills, consulting, resources as well. So if you do exactly the same thing on both sides, in the same place, the same market, same solutions and products, if you're doing it because you don't have enough resources and to deliver a big project, makes a lot of sense. But there needs to be tangible benefits for both sides, and resources dedicated to making it happen, and commitment on both sides, both at senior level as well as execution level, because sometimes you can have best commitment to the senior level and then the execution drops because no one is on board, no one has been told how to do it, what to do, why to do it, and salespeople are not compensated by selling the other stuff, etc. So there needs to be a programmatic approach that actually goes through all the levels and the details of how this is going to work as a partnership. It is hard to do. It's not very easy, but if you wanted to do it properly, you need to lay the foundations in the right way.
That's very good advice. Thank you. If listeners are interested in learning more about what you're doing, how would they contact you?
They can contact me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active, so I will reply to them. Also, they could reach out to us at 365talentportal.com, and either me or my team will reach out to them.
Terrific. Okay, Elena, thank you for your time today, and thank you for sharing your stories with us again.
Thank you so much, Brian, Eric, Manish, and Eddie. It's always a pleasure talking to you all.
All right, very good. So that will do it for this episode of the True Stories in Tech podcast. I'm Brian Inuma with Strategic Systems Group, along with my friends and colleagues, Manish Bardia, President of Thinking AI Consulting, Eddie Bader, COO of Aegis Innovators, and Eric Klaus, CEO of Partner Source Solutions. Thank you for listening to this True Stories in Tech podcast. Please join us next week for more True Stories in Tech.